Hi, it's Lel from Made by Marley, and today I'm going to be introducing you to our new autumnal and festive Christmas collection. So, I'm going to start with the two festive ones first. Is that a word? So, the first one is called Yuletide. It's got a big snowman on it on one of the sheets. Now, the other two sheets, if you're Scottish, this might evoke quite, be quite nostalgic. I designed this like when I was young in Scotland. You always got shortbread with a black Scotty dog on it, or toffee. This is how it used to look, and I've designed it like an old-fashioned Scottish box of toffee. So that was a kind of left field one, but I just wanted to do something like that. And as if that wasn't joyous enough, who doesn't like a little bit of figgy pudding? Now in Scotland it's called a dumpling, but it didn't have the same sort of vibe about it. So it's called a clootie dumpling. But anyway, so
The
I thought
Clootie Dumpling Company.
the Clootie Dumpling Company, yeah. So I thought these two were quite nice for doing sort of imagery or wall art. And I just thought I always like a snowman at Christmas because they're everywhere. Whereas a good quality snowman with a night, and I thought he's just beautiful. So there we go. That's the first set, and that's called Yuletide. Second set, this one here is called Better Not Pout. And this one's just all Santas, because who doesn't love Santas at this time of year? Look at this boy. Isn't he gorgeous? Got this one. And then for those that make smalls, I've got a montage of Santas. They're all vintage ones. So you've got this one peeking through the window. And you've got this one holding a Christmas tree. And you've got this one standing beside a door. In fact, I did a little kind of old vintage book with this one here. Just something for a little bit of staging. But I thought that was really quite cute. Little things you can do to have around the house at Christmas. And the last one is this lovely pink one, because I just thought that's so nice. And I thought you could do some molds with some gold, and you could really bougie this one up. So I quite liked it because it's pink and it's nice. So there we go. That's the Santas. But can I just give you a flash of him again? Isn't he lovely? I don't know if you got any of our Santas from the Big Man collection. It's still available as well. And there's 3 awesome Santas in that one. Next one, this one here is called Rouge, and it's got cardinal birds on it, and it's autumnal. It's got one big bird, so you can see it here on the big screen. Oh, I've been forgetting to point at the screen. Hopefully Matty will just organise that without me. I've got this one, which is the sort of complimentary sheet, which has got all this sort of autumnal leaves. It's got berries, it's got some nice white flowers, pine cones, etc. And the last one is the one with the 3 cardinals on, which is, you'll probably see it better on there. So that's that one, and that was called Rouge. Now, the last of the sort of seasonal-ish ones, this one here is called Pumpkin Pie. Because I couldn't think of anything else.
I think I named that one. They're imaginative. Eh?
Come, what can we call this? A pumpkin pie. It's got this pumpkin, which is an orange pumpkin. It's got this glorious pumpkin in blue. And then what I've done is a coordinating sheet of sort of like sort of fruit. So fruit and berries and apples. And I thought these would all work together if you were doing a small piece of autumnal decor. And I can show you quickly, which you're going to see in the video anyway, but I did this sign with the blue pumpkin. I scrunched it up. I scrunched my paper up, wet it, applied it crinkly, because this was a really textured frame. Did a sort of fault line in the brown. I ripped the bottom off and I turned it round and put it at the top, and then just put some words. It is that simple. And if you want to know how I made anything that you see tonight, if you sign up on our website, I've done a blog on how I made all of these things. So that's quite good as well. And you get to see the papers in depth and things. The next one, for all the Alice lovers out there in the world, because there are so many, and I'm a bit obsessed, I must admit. This one's got the White Rabbit. It's kind of Alice in Wonderland inspired, and it's called I'm Late. Okay, so it's got one rabbit going this way and one rabbit going this way. And before anybody says, the clock is backwards on the other one. I wasn't able to fix it. So you have a backwards clock, but it's kind of Alice in Wonderland related. And Martin and I both laughed and went, oh, well, you know, that's the way it is. So it's got two like this. So you can see it big on the screen. And it's got this complimentary paper. And the table that I'm actually using at the moment is the table that I made with the paper. But obviously there's a little video of that, and I just used some stamps, and that's it in action. Yeah, so that's I'm Late, and it's based on Alice in Wonderland. The next one here is called Oscar. It's a cute one. I based this on, you know how I've got that obsession with flowers, birds, chimoiserie and all that kind of stuff. This was what I kind of based it on, with a sort of Moroccan pattern behind it all. So it's little blue tits. So we've got one blue tit like this and one blue tit like this. And then we have one complimentary paper, and Martin's going to pop this in the video, but I did a little bedside cabinet with this one, and it's so cute. And it's, as I say in my blog, it's really so easy to do. Some of them are broken down into afternoon projects. Some of them are broken down to a couple of hours. You know, none of these are, it doesn't have to be your life's work, because I understand at Christmas time you're busy, but you want to create and you want to do things, but you don't want it to be your life's work. But then there's obviously others who want to just hunker down and do some projects in the dark evenings, and I appreciate that too. This one here is called Rosehip and Hedgerow. This one's really bougie, and Martin likes this one, really dark and bougie. And it's just 3 sheets of the same paper, because I thought you could do, you know, quite a lot with this, and I've kept it very simple. And it's inspired by sort of kind of hedgerows, and it's got rose hips, and it's got the roses in it, and it's got like the greenery, and it's got sort of like buds and berries and just a little bit of everything. And it's got an overlay with this big sort of mustardy coloured flower with the border. And I think this will be really nice on a sort of vintage piece of furniture. I can really see it on that. I have a piece of vintage furniture. This one here is called All About Autumn, and if you watch Sunday's video on our YouTube channel, you will see me doing a chimoiserie. See, I told you, a chimoiserie piece of furniture, a big set of drawers. You've probably maybe seen it on my social media. So this has one large bird in it. The next one has 2 birds going this way. Keep forgetting to point to the wall, but Martin's probably got all this under control. And this one here is the coordinating drawer sheet, so you can apply cut, so that's your sort of drawers there, depending on which way you're doing it. So, and I really like this sort of kind of cocoa colour, sort of veering towards a sort of brown. I think seasonal furniture is one of those things where you don't want to paint for the season, so you're not going to put Santa on your furniture, but you can, you know, can really kind of like get into the sort of darker colours at this time of the year, which is quite nice. So yeah, so that one there is All About Autumn. Now we're getting into the ones that I'm just like giddy about. This one here is called Boho Tile, and it's just 3 sets of this gorgeous lush Bohemian tile. It's got loads of distress underneath it. It's got overlays over the top of it. It's got a little bit of everything, and it is really easy to use because obviously it's square tiles, so you just cut it out like it was tiles. You could do fireplaces, you could do kitchen backsplashes. If you do your kitchen tiles, just remember you have to seal it with an appropriate sealer, so I would probably use dishwasher Mod Podge with 2 coats. You can use it as tiles, you can use it on top of coffee tables. This one here is a real sort of fits all kind of one, and I wanted something like this in the collection. This as well would work really well with Lotus Love, because of this. There's this lotus flower in it, which is based on that, so you could use this with Lotus Love. You could coordinate it with our Borders paper, so this could, you know, a full set. And each one of our pieces of paper, each one of our sets of paper generally coordinates with another in the set, which, because you'll see it when I do my piece on Sunday, although I used All About Autumn, I also used the More and More paper and fussy cut that I put it with it. So it's just, you know, just about thinking what will go with what. Now this last one, again, we weren't very ingenious when we came up with the name of this one. This was called Blue Peacock. and I really like this one. This is kind of a take on some of the furniture in a box papers. They're a wee bit more colourful and complicated, but I just love doing this peacock. So I thought I'm just going to just play around with the peacock a little bit more. So I've got one peacock going this way, and I have one peacock going this way. But then what I've done is I've done more flowers so that you can have this as a coordinating sheet. So something like that. That's how that works. So what to say about the release? The release, I think, was always going to be a release of 2 parts, kind of like Christmas. I didn't want to have too many Christmases because I still got other Christmas papers, so didn't want too much Christmas, but I still wanted more Santas. I wanted a good quality snowman, and I wanted to do a little kind of fun thing for Christmas. So that's been ticked off. I've got pumpkins covered for kind of the season. I've got some bohemian, and I've got some bougie, warm, sort of winter night sort of decoupage that makes you feel comfortable. Can I ask, if you are using our paper, we have a hashtag at the moment for the new collection. It's called hashtag Design for Joy. So it's up here on the sign, hashtag Design for Joy. Anything you're putting, if you're anybody that does furniture who's our brand ambassadors, hashtag that one. Anybody that's just doing something in the group. And that leads me quite nicely onto our decoupage group. At the end of this video, I'm going to get Martin. Now, it's not in the right format because I've done it as a reel. I'm going to get Martin just to add on the very end of our latest competition winners that I put onto our Facebook and onto our social media, because the amount of talent, you will not believe, and inspiration. So if you haven't joined our decoupage group yet, that will be in the description. Our website and all the links to that will be in the description. Our stockist in the description.
All the links.
Everything you could possibly want is in the description. And that's really all I've got. Martin, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, it's a lovely collection. It really is.
I think it's a little bit of something for everybody, and it'll tide you over until the spring. I've already started looking at spring designs, so I've got one design already. So between now and the spring, you know, that'll tide us over. And as I said, do try and look at what papers go with what. I think that's really kind of, even now, I mean, and I'll tell you why I started to really get into it. It was the decoupage group, because they inspire me. There's some people who just mix and match, and it just turns out amazing. So, you know, why not? It's all about the fun, and it is designed for joy. So I've been Lyle from Made by Marley. I hope you've really enjoyed this, and I've enjoyed making this. I'm proud of this one because there's quite a lot of kind of more technical things I've done with the paper, which as you get better and you get better at these kind of things. So that's it for we'll see you on Sunday when you're going to see the Chaumasserie piece. So take care. Bye bye. And here's something that we did with this paper. So for the Santa box, what I used was one of the sheets, which is one of the main A3 size Santas, for this little set of drawers, which still leaves you another 4 to do with what you please. I just got a little old box file. It's quite vintagey. It's a vintagey one, and it had that leatherette covering on, and I just decoupage straight over the top of the leatherette. I mean, our decoupage will go on top of that easily. And I just didn't. I kept it really simple. I applied them, and then I just did blue round about them, and I put a couple of transfers and just changed the little handles, because the original handles were a little bit duff looking. So that's all I did for him. And I thought, what I'm going to obviously put this one on my website for Christmas, but I thought it'd be really nice if you put, like, as a sort of kind of like an advent calendar, you could put sweeties and treats in it and give them, well, I was thinking of my grandchildren, but maybe sweeties and treats for yourself, I don't know. Anyway, this is one of the ones from the pack of Better Not Pout. So who doesn't like a simple Christmas make? I just took an old carriage clock, painted it, added my decoupage paper to the back, one of the Santas from Better Not Pout, and added some greenery, some fairy lights, and boom. And you can also do, I know it's the trend at the moment for sort of decor, you can also do books, old books, and have them sitting around at your Christmas. So, you know, these ones are so simple, so easy, things you can do in half an hour, literally, if you've got some spare time. But this was a clock, so an old vintage carriage clock that I just painted. Okay. Okay, with the pumpkin pie papers, this is one of the sheets that I used. I used the orange pumpkin, and I just cut out some of the leaves, made a circle part of the main focal pumpkin, glued it in the middle of the plate, applied the leaves, and then used I think it's a cake baking mold that I used for it to do the letters, and that's how it looks. Okay, so this collection is also fabulous as well for wall art, and this was really simple. I scrunched up the pumpkin paper, added water to get loads of texture on it. I ripped off the bottom, which I turned around and applied at the very top of the page, applied the pumpkin, and then did a painty brown line behind it all, and then got some stamps and just wrote cozy and warm. That's it.
Easy peasy lemon
Easy peasy
squeezy.
lemon squeezy. Go forth and make wall art. So this paper's called Rouge. It's got some lovely red cardinals on it, and a sort of kind of autumnal feel, I think. What did I do? I ripped my paper and created a fault line down the middle, which I put some sort of light brown paint and some dark brown paint, and then used a wood graining tool to do that brown line down the middle, and then I just extended out my decoupage paper with some blending, and it was actually that simple. And then what I did was I fussy cut some of the leaves out and applied them to the frame just to give that kind of like look of movement in it. And you can do that with a lot of Made by Marley decoupage paper. If you've got a piece in a frame, then you can fussy cut other areas, other pieces, and then apply them to the frame, and it really does look quite effective. So this paper is called Rouge. Okay, so this is what I did with the For Tom papers. This is a really quick afternoon project. All I literally did was applied one of the bird papers to the top, one of the bird papers to the bottom, and I applied the middle one in the inside at the bottom in there, and I just coordinated it with a green colour on the sides, just a green colour, and on the top I had a little kind of Moroccan stencil that I just stenciled around it, and I put the same detail along the front. So what was left over from the inside part I used for the little drawer, and that is an afternoon fun sort of autumny project. I mean, this paper doesn't lend itself just to autumn. It could be any, but it is very warm and sort of bougie. It has that look about it, and it's got the little blue tits on it. So that is Oscar. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about this one too long because there's a full tutorial on this on our Sunday video on YouTube. So what did I do? Ripped up All About Autumn paper and distributed it around the piece to get that chinoiserie look. Painted in some branches, did a bit of gold, did a bit of paint, did a little bit of fussy cutting because I also added a Moramo paper on this as well to add some extra florals. And really not a very complicated piece, but it looks complicated, and this is the beauty of Made by Marley. You can achieve things that aren't really that complicated, but they look like you've been really, raising your game. So this one here is called All About Autumn. Okay, so for this piece I used the boho tile paper. It pretty much decoupages itself really, if you're just using it as the sort of tiles here, because you just cut them to size of your drawer and then apply them. These parts here are just the tile parts, which I fussy cut out and added, and I did this with liner on the glass. Was this a difficult piece to do? Not really, but it is time consuming. So if you're looking for something over the winter to keep you going, something to keep you busy, then this is the kind of piece that will keep you on your toes. There's a lot of stenciling, a lot of layers, a lot of distress, some stamping, a little bit of everything. And I think that's, you just build it up and build it up. And I think the piece itself is a beautiful piece. So the paper really did it justice. So that is called Boho Tile. There's no video on this one. I know that everybody will ask, but this was just a personal chill out project for myself. So that's it. Everything is now available at Stockist on our website now. We ship anywhere and everywhere, so get on and go and see what one you're going to pick.